Tell me about it. Y'all, tell me about it. Brody. Tell me. Brody. Tell me. Oh, very good. Tell me. Oh, Brody. Tell me about it. Tell me. Oh, it's a good singing voice. Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel, Art Classes My Way. So you might remember this little ring. Oh, and by the way, I am at my gallery today. I'm trying to get this in time for Halloween and I'm going to record this wherever I can. You might remember this very simple ring that we started in the previous jewelry episode, beginner's ring. And I've rearranged it a little bit because, like I said, we could still use this as a base for something else, and that something else, haha, we're going to try to go Halloween themed this year anyway, is this little eyeball here. We're going to try to turn this into some sort of eyeball kind of ring for the season. Now these eyeballs can come in many different colors, and you know, there's all kinds of companies that make them. You can see we have the option of the gold, the red, or the blue. And I'm still going to try to make this guy a sizable ring. Obviously he's going to be fairly large, but one that can at least hit like within 3 sizes of somebody's finger. So yep, we have these guys here, and you can even make your own. They have just the acrylic dome, and the domes don't always come this extreme. That's going to be the difficult part of this whole video, is dealing with all of that. And this is just a piece of paper on the back, the actual picture of the eyeball itself. So you don't want to peel that off. It's not sticky. The idea is basically you can glue it onto something. And if you're not, you're going to watch me struggle in this. I would recommend, I don't have it here with me, but getting some jewelry glue or the like to go ahead and tack this sucker down and letting it dry. So that way he won't move around on you. Just will make your life a lot easier. Now, as far as all of these little hoops go, the reason I wanted to leave all these hoops is so that way we have areas where we can connect wires, pretty much adding base wires to this, and build the eyeball part over the top. So yeah, there's the overall basic idea. So I'm going to be using 20 gauge wire, copper wire, and I'm also going to be using this 34 gauge silver plated copper, along with everything else. And we're just going to get started with giving this a little bit of a shaping and see if we can't try to go ahead and in a way tack it down by starting the over eyelid and the under eyelid that's going to hold this thing together, or at least hold the eyeball itself on. And it's going to take a few pieces, and I'm thinking I'm going to attach this guy to here and having it come around. So probably about for this particular size here, I'm going to go for about 2 inches or so, thereabouts. I'm going to go ahead and curve this, and I'm just using this set of pliers as a placeholder. Just come up through the bottom and continue making a hoop like these guys are. And mush them together. There we are. That ought to do it. Now this is going to end up, I'm going to have to grab a hold of this and holding down. This is going to end up coming from the back around because I want it to have a little bit of overlap. By the time I'm done, I don't really want these hooks to show up anymore. So I'm just holding down with my finger. And even if you did tack this down, I would still recommend trying to hold it in place as you work. And you're going to want nice soft wire for this job. Now you don't want to go all the way over the eye, like so, like in the middle or anything. It's going to pretty much make a closed eyelid. You want it to be just around the side, and then by the time you make the top wire up here come across about the same distance, it's going to hold it on there. So you can see how basically all the way down here at the bottom, that is where this is at its widest, that's what we're trying to use to best effect. Now I would recommend going a little bit over where you want your wire to be. You can always adjust it downwards later, but if it ends up, as you're working with it, slowly rotating itself down and down and down and down the eyeball, then you might end up being SOL. So, and it's pretty much where I'm going to want it. And there. telling you, this is going to be a very frustrating project for a great many of you. I have a lot of patience myself. So, you know, just if you can kind of sit him upright like so, and he's resting fairly comfortably in there, you're on the right track. Now, I didn't make these come up nearly as far. This is actually going to be the top of the eyeball. This is going to be the under lid, and I didn't want them to be quite so exaggerated, so that way they just look, you know, a little bit more subtle. All right. And go ahead and add in the next piece. Now, these pieces are not defining how our eyeball is going to look. It's just really trying to hold it in place. So I've got another piece. Go ahead and curl him a little bit. Or you can go ahead and just completely make your P shape and then open it like a jump ring. So that's going to be just crooked. And I'm going to put it on this guy. And then I have to open it a little more. Yep, I have to open it a little more. Or I just made the hole too, or the P shape too small. Come on now. There we go. And we'll rotate that guy back into place. Come here. Make sure you're all nice and straight. Now, obviously, if we just decided to pull this, yeah, it's going to come loose. Don't expect it to hold the Hoover Dam here. It's going to be the culmination of all the wires that we put in. And really, you're not going to want to do anything over, when this comes to this part especially, you're not going to want to do anything that's over 20 as far as wire goes, because you're going to want this is going to be something considerably smaller, and we don't want to make it feel too overpowering. Now, if you want to make it much, much bigger, that is your prerogative there. This is where gluing it down would be so nice. Okay, so what I've done is just go ahead, take this wire for what amounts as the bottom lid, and I brought it through the bottom hoop here, and then I just slid the eyeball in. To quite a bit of finger maneuvering here, and shaped it around the bottom part of the eye. And yep, it wants to be quite the pain in the butt. Good. Around there, and there we go. And if you can kind of hold the wires in, I mean, you can see how loose this actually is, but just, you know, a little fingernail here, holding onto this wire, and if he's pretty much staying put, then you're on the right track. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this guy down, maybe, or I might just go ahead and loop him through one more time, so that way it is permanently affixed to this bottom half, and then I'm going to try to figure out what to do as far as up here. You can end up wire weaving this into everything. It would make a very nice finished look. I would like to even leave it open and just go ahead and finish this guy off, and then get a couple of other wires, go ahead and wire weave, like maybe 3 of them together, and go ahead and start making the actual eyelid itself. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to straighten this guy out a little bit. There we go. Now make sure that you're not working this too much, because you are going to want these wires to be pretty pliable as you're going. So since I had shaped him originally to the eye, that's okay. All right. The next time I plan to actually move it is when I permanently leave it affixed around the eye, so that won't be any big deal. And we'll just go ahead, kind of put my thumb in here, and I'm going to weave him through. Alright, so what I've essentially done is I've taken the wire, come round, gone through here, brought it back over the top, but instead of going through this hoop, I went around the actual base wire that comes around through here by itself. So way out in between these two here. So this is where having so many loose areas on this ring makes a great mini anchor points for you, and some great anchor points, so that way you can start building up your piece. And it gives it a little bit there, just a little bit of a whimsical look. Kind of sits in there. And remember, eyeballs, if this is going to be the far corner, which it probably is going to be, eyeballs start off in peak, you know, in a nice little point, and then come round, and then we're going to have to build it up to where it does come up to a point over here, which is probably going to be where the wrapped copper wire is in the back there. So what happened there? So we got a lovely little nesting spot, and you know, not holding him there, just other than making sure he stays in there straight. And if you're not using any glue or anything like that, you might want to, at the very, very end, if anything, to keep him from rotating in the ring as somebody's wearing it. You know, you don't want to turn sideways or so on. Just kind of nice and straight. It's kind of hard from an angle because then it doesn't quite look right, but yeah. So, and then we just keep on building from there. So I'm going to get a new piece of wire. I might want to make this one just a little bit longer, so maybe about 4 inches. And you get. And I think I'm going to go ahead and attach him to the base wire of pretty much this curl right here, but I'm going to do it way back here. Now, a lot more of this is going to end up being aesthetical and a little bit more flare, so that way you get the idea that the eyelid is open. So that would be like where the corner of your eye would be in the fleshier part, and then coming around the actual eyeball and shaping just pretty much the topmost part of it and having it come downwards. Now, since this is going to be the top of the eye, I'm going to want it to pretty much wrap around here, so that way it doesn't go into the bottom eyelid territory. So just bend and come through, and pretty much at any point you're really going to want this eyeball to be in it as much as possible, so that way things don't get distorted too much. So there. I want him a little bit. Whoop. You out of my way. Now I've got my thumb on top of this wire. Everything is pretty much placed exactly where I want it, so that way I can come round just like I did on the back side here. And I want it to kind of curve and follow, so that way it has that same kind of swoosh going around. And just move it upwards a little bit, hold him in there a little better. I'm using my nail to try to make it follow everything here. Right, there we are. Rotate. I want this to actually be just closed a little more. It's a little too shocked. There, a little bit more relaxed look, but just, yeah, that peaceful. And I'm just going to go around the back. There we are. And then you can just sit here and shape it to your heart's desire. Make it feel, give it an expression that feels a little bit more like what you want. Okay. And still, we have plenty of this wire to still yet do some bits, and you can even come around with the other guy here and find a place to finish him off a little more. I want you up here instead. There. Okay. That's a little, making me a little more happy. Now, obviously, he has a little bit of wiggle, a little more wiggle than I want. There, that's a little better. Now, because this wire is not a part of this one wire that's gone all the way through, that allows me to kind of stabilize things a little bit more, because he's not a part of the overall wiggling that's going on. And just by folding him over like that, he has stabilized everything a great deal. So we will go ahead and finish him off, and by curling him around this bottom wire. And you can also do this entire thing while on your ring mandrel to make sure it stays the same size the whole time. Just gently swirl there and give it a little nip. And tuck him away. Tuck. Or tuck him inside instead of on the outside. There you go. There. And there we have our beginnings. And you can fiddle and shape and mold this like endlessly. It's the project that is never going to end, but it entertains me. Great, it's probably too much. Close this a little more, give this a little more room. Yep. And then we'll go ahead and bring this guy inwards. So I'm basically taking him in, putting him around the top part where we've been pretty much basing everything on this bottom one right behind the eyeball. And just wrap him there. And come around and even do something kind of decorative along the bottom. Tuck him in. And he's not really so much stabilizing, he's just tucked in behind the eyeball. It's more of an appearance thing at this point. Top of the eye got a little cattywampus there. Okay. So we got him stabilized in there pretty good. Now we can actually start building the more decorative bits. Now I would recommend building these separate. You can fold downwards and push and mold downwards while you're doing this. I'm going to end up cutting pieces way longer than I probably need for this part, but those will turn into decorative elements along the way. But we need to get some actual wire weaving put into this thing here. Now, just in case, and also because of the decorative element part of this, we're going to want these kind of staggered, even though they are all the same length. So that way we have different attachment points to make this feel more solid. And I think I'm even going to go for a fourth one. And I have my 34 here. Go ahead and straighten this all out. Even when you try to keep it a non-tangled mess, it will still be a tangled mess no matter what you do. Oh. Pick somewhere in the middle here and just go ahead and start with the middle. Now I'm going to want to, nope, you go here, there. So I want to start in the middle of the pretty much the project, or the eyelid itself area, or really, I guess we're going to be more or less here to start with the eyeball, and then these will be either anchor points or decorative points, one of the two. So I'm going to start a little bit more on this side. We can always add on more wire. So let's see here. I'm going to pretty much mimic the corn row weave that I got going on in the back here, because there are going to be so many elements to this by the time we're all done. So. And if you don't know how to do that weave, I do have a video just on that weave. It's one of my just weaves video. You can always go check that out, but super quick here. It's just going round one, go on the back, go around the next one, move on to the back piece, go around the next one. I missed. Around the back. So that way you have nothing but shorts in the front. And then we'll scooch them all together. And then you got a nice little row there. And then you're going to just pretty much inverse it going around the top. So I'll make that the top of the weave, and then this will be pretty much the solid bottom. So I will go around that one more time, so that way we have the top of the sprig of the corn and a little tuft at the top. And then once more, and then you inverse it. Then you have 3 on top. Now I'm going to go around the back of this one and go over the top of it, so that way it's a short in the front. Go underneath this one, and then I'm going to go around the top of this one, so that way it's a short around it. And then same for the bottom, and then you can put as many in between as you like between this row of corn and the next row of corn. I always like to do 7. 7 is a lucky number 1 for me, and I only wish the best for any of my clients who buy my stuff, so I will put 7 rows down the bottom. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now it's pretty short corn, or wheat. You can also think of it as wheat. Either way. So I went around 7 times, around one more time to act as one of the corn rows. Come around the back of this, and a short in front. Back of this guy to make a short in front, and then 3 times around the top. 1, 2, and 3, and then go around the back on that one, and then go all the way around it to make a short in front, around the back of this one, and whoop, short in front, and so on. Again, if you want to see something that's a lot more detailed, a lot more close-up, I do have a video showing this weave all by itself, so I would recommend to go check that out. But we are going to go ahead and just move forward from here. And I'm going to use my time machine. I will see you guys very shortly. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to curl this guy. But I'm going to do it just a little bit differently from normal. I'm going to use my tool here. I would recommend using a file, actually, if you have one, but I don't have one here at the gallery at the moment. So I'm just using the texture of my round nose to kind of file a little bit for me, and also lightly smash it down to being at an angle just a little bit. There we go. That way it doesn't have a super sharp point, but so that way I can start to curl it. Now this is going to be a decorative element more than anything. And I'm going to take round nose here, and if you don't know how to make a curl, I also do have a beginner's video on that I would recommend checking out. But it's just basically grabbing a hold of your curl with your square nose and then just starting to roll it from here. There. I'll roll it just a little further, since that's where my wire kind of ends. Well, it doesn't kind of, it does end. And I'm going to stretch him across, keeping with the theme of my weave. And that gives me just a slight little bit of webbing there. Nice little, just a little touch, a little look. A little detail for people to see. And then I'm going to go ahead and go up with that. And just end it on the top here. Now the reason I changed my weave come to this point is just for aesthetic reasons. It's just the way I thought I wanted this piece to go, or I think I want this piece to go, and as far as I know at this point, I do want this piece to do that. So we can kind of see that curl is going to make a nice little addition. I'm going to use these guys to anchor down the overall piece and attach, so I don't want to do too much with those. Of course, these guys are in the way, so I'll just bend them upwards. Now there's eyelashes. Yes, eyelashes to die for. I want this to be kind of over the top here. And then I can see roughly where everything's going to go, and everything looks like it's going to end on this bottom wire here. Just lovely. And then I can go ahead and just do a little bit more. Now, if you're wanting to make something that has a very particular expression or looks like it's making a very particular expression, I do recommend going online, finding a picture of somebody who you like their eyes, you like the expression in their eyes, and then just crop it down just to the eye and trying to shape everything, the eyelid and so on, to the image that you find. If you're trying to go for something that feels happy, something that feels kind of sad, what have you. But I think that's going to end very nicely when I curl it underneath. If you can kind of show you the side here. So yeah, that's going to fold back underneath very nicely. And what I think I'm going to do is curl them back, have them come up in between, and then I'll curl them there, or I'll come up with something to do decorative, and then that will anchor this down, but still give that nice little flash as well. So I think maybe 3 more little bits of corn on the top, or wheat, or what have you, over this way. And I'm not going to cut this guy. I might have some use for him when I get it. So I'm going to go ahead and continue my weave. I'm probably going to do 2 more corn rows, and then I'm going to go back to this, which is just the corn endlessly. There's no gaps in between. That's all that is. So I will actually just go ahead and edit this part out, and I'll see you guys shortly. Alright, so what I have done, not too terribly much. made sure that curl is right in the corner where I want it, and then I just went ahead and folded those ends around so that way kind of anchored, and then I just went ahead and this is where you can sit here and shape as much as you want to the eyeball itself that we're doing. Now, there's still a lot more to build up, especially in here. We got a lot more wire weaving to do, and even maybe a little bit around here and underneath, so that way it feels more like an actual eyeball. But overall, we're doing pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and try to end these guys. And since they're not as long as I was hoping they would be, this one's probably going to be the only one that I'm going to take and come through here. These guys, probably not so much. So we'll just take him, put him through. And that will really anchor everything down at that point. And then I'll just use him to be a little bit more of a decorative element. I'll pull him out a little more here so that way I get a nice swoop going on a little bit more. And then holding everything in position as I go so that way nothing gets shifted too much. You don't really want it to shift. I'm going to go one through one more time. And give it a little pull. And one more. I'm going to just kind of nudge this guy over and try not to scuff anything up. And tuck him in. Go ahead and cut off the part that I munched to death. And tuck. Just feel, make sure, yeah, that feels nice. And now this guy, what should I do? I could bring him through here. See what that looks like real quick. Whoop, one more over. Always easier said than done. Now we can leave this laying a little bit longer, so we'll go ahead and, well, maybe just, nah, that would be too far away. Or maybe not. If I put it on the other side of these two, do it, and I'm going to get too far away when I go to tighten it, and it won't want to lay all nice and lovely like it already is. So we'll just, what we'll do instead is I'm going to cut off the part that I boogered up badly. And we'll just make a nice little curl through there. Just kind of lay it flat. And then we'll come in here with a wire and just anchor him down a little bit, but it still adds a nice little touch. So there is that part of it. Now that that's all nice and anchored, we'll come back around and reshape a little bit more. Because obviously, as we did that, we did change it. Yeah, well, calm down. I'm wanting this to at least show at least the top most wire. The rest of them I'm wanting to more or less cover up. That way I'm building up the parts I actually want to build up. So, maybe a little further down. That's a little better. Now I'm going to take these wires, these leftover ones, and I'm going to start weaving them down in through. We can bring them up, again, turn them into decorative elements, or we can do a variety of things. But let's just go ahead and interlace them. And I want to interlace them a little bit further out so that way, again, we're building up the actual eye itself. But we don't want to fill in every single little spot because that's going to take a lot of wire to do. And the more wire you use, the less profit you're going to end up having. And I'll hold this guy in place to make sure he doesn't move around too much. Then this guy can come through the bottom, or up through the bottom. Alright. Just trying to shape that just a little bit, make it a little straighter. And now I'm going to basically, where this one comes along the top, the next one underneath, the one underneath, it's going to come in between here. And then this one's going to go in here, and then this guy's going to come out here. I want to try to grab it where I've already used my tools, and I'm going to hold my thumb here so that way hopefully nothing. Yeah, so it's always good to come along the back and make sure you're pulling all of it through. All the way across, building with them doesn't seem like the most marvelous of ideas. Let's see what this looks like. Or this could just end up being too much of a pain in the tuck. So since he's so short, what a we don't want to pull too much, otherwise we'll pull this wire up and maybe lose our look. And taking what's the top wire and putting it in between. And I think I'll just end him through. Yeah, like so. Which really he's just wrapping around himself, so. No, that's something else. Okay. All right. Guess he should go through there, actually. Let's try that instead. Now we got our base wires weaving. Come up through the bottom, since I seem to have enough. Right through there. Grab and pull, and there we go. We'll just cut him down. And then just hook him around the back. Like so. I'm just going to go ahead and squish him with this guy here. And same with this guy. I'll go ahead and cut him a little bit shorter. And then I will align. There we are. That's a little intriguing. Something different. And now we got 2 wires left. And then I got this big guy here. And got the longest and the second longest. Second longest looks like he can end. Try to make him kind of follow what's going on here. And then I'll maybe tuck him under here and hide him. I'll go too straight. There we go, and he just kind of wraps around to the back of our little eyeball. And I'm going to move him, that wire, up just a little bit so that way I can tuck or kind of fold him around the back of this eyepiece here. And but you got to make sure, since this is acrylic, this is a plastic eye. And now we are that you don't end up scratching further along. I ended up undoing a good chunk of the bottom and redoing it, and I'm a lot more happier with it now. So we're going to start adding a few more wires and start building up the top, make the top look a little better, make the bottom look a little better. And that's a lot of basically just weaving and playing around with what you have. As well as very warpy and not nice looking. So I'm going to do a fast forward. Not exactly the greatest, so this is where we can take some more decorative things. I'm doing for mine. We'll just go ahead and close that guy up just a little bit. This wire, and more or less just let you guys see what I am doing. You can always slow down the video. You don't want too many decorative elements going around to the side, because just going in, focus is supposed to be the eyeball. You don't want to take away feel like it belongs with the overall piece. And who knows, all this may end up getting covered under here, come up, but just in case it doesn't, it's always a good idea, and then it can come kind of back. Plan for the and add on for things to not maybe go as planned exactly. Here, put a little curl and move along with the rest of these guys over here. There's a variety of options that you can do with this and this wire, and you could continue how you want your eye to end up looking in the end of all of this. And I'm going to try to make mine look a little bit more reptilian because of the obviously the pupil there. And to hold this guy down, I'm going to use my flat nose and kind of hook him, so that way I can bring this guy around, or the rest of the body around anyway, and make it follow the shape that I want. And then I'm going to add this guy in as well. I think this one's going to end up going more behind. Now you want to be careful with how much. and as you can see, here is my final project. I do hope you guys enjoy this video. Pretty much all we did for the last bit, or I did for the last bit, was I took the top wire that I was weaving together. I decided to give him some eyebrow spikes, pretty much, so that way just a little added interest. I slid this ring down to the 7 mark just to make sure, one, it helps shape it. I can always take the hammer, go at this around from this side, and even up the sides just a little bit to make sure that it is that nice round shape. And as you can see, just by putting it on the ring mandrel, it's to shape pretty nicely for a size 7. Actually, that's my middle finger. I always wear, normally what I used to do before I got married, I always wore my rings on my middle finger. So yeah, there you are. So a lovely little project for Halloween, and there are several other projects I was thinking about. Maybe next year I'll have them recorded for you. Maybe even a 3-piece ring with the eyeballs, since I have so many of them. I gotta use them up somehow. So pretty simple, lots of fun how people are doing those eyeball projects. And obviously you have the more flat projects, the pendants and things like that, but since I was asked to do a ring project, just kind of show you and how to do that with this and make it fun and Halloweeny at the same time. Now you can still have, I ended up forgetting about halfway through as I was doing it that I wanted it to be a multiple sizable ring. Yeah, so I forgot, and this guy's pretty much wired to both halves where it could have expanded more. Now if you keep it in mind better than I did while I was doing it, then you could possibly still keep it as a resizable ring the entire time just by wiring it to one side instead of both ends. So I do hope you guys had fun. I still gotta glue this guy in here. You can see he's still a little too rotatey, and the fun is how the eye feels like it's following you. So great little Halloween piece. I do hope you guys enjoyed this project, and I got a little thing for you at the end. Please don't leave just yet. So yeah, the Indianapolis Raw exhibition is coming up here soon, and they have asked me to be a part of it, but unfortunately in order to be a part of this event you have to sell at least 20 tickets, $22 a piece. And I wouldn't ask this, guys, of you if you're not even remotely close to Indiana or are going to be anywhere near Indiana during this time period. Go ahead and turn this off and disregard. But if you guys do happen to live in Indiana or you're from the area, I do ask that maybe you think about going to this website and you can buy your tickets there, and it will count towards me being able to participate in the Raw Artist Show if I can manage to sell 20 tickets. They're $22 a piece. We have place, Indianapolis, obviously, Indianapolis, Indiana. There are multiple Indianapolises, aren't there? Indianapolis, Indiana. Here is the address of the event. Tuesday, December 14th at 7 o'clock. I believe it's a 2 to 3 hour event. There is going to be more than just jewelry making. There's going to be, they won't let me in for painting. They really want me for jewelry, or for my jewelry. And they also have fashion. They have visual arts. They have plays going on. From what I'm understanding, you can also just go to rawartist.org and check out pretty much like a lot of the artists that are even going to be at this event. Now, unfortunately, because if I do sell the 20 tickets, supposedly I can go to another Raw event for free and I don't have to worry about selling tickets. But all of those are like 2 states away. It's a little much. But if you guys happen to be in the area at this time and you're feeling generous, maybe you want to come and help me out, or just come and say hi, sit with me. I'm sure I'm going to be bored. My husband will be there with me, but odds are he's going to have his DS and he's going to be playing Pokemon. I tried Pokemon. It's enjoyable. It's fun. The most enjoyable part for me is the breeding part. I've like bred him so many competitive Pokemon just because that's what I enjoy the most out of that game. But Monster Hunter's more my speed. But anyway, he'll be sitting there. He's probably going to be playing games and running for water and doing little things for me. Probably really not going to be doing much on the talking, but I'd love to see you guys there. I'd love to talk with you and keep me company. That'd be awesome. And just in case he can't get off work during that time period, you know, that definitely, I'm going to need the company. Please come and talk to me. Oh my God. So yeah, if you're feeling generous and you happen to be in Indianapolis around this time period, there's going to be all kinds of gifts you can buy from all the other artists, seeing other artists, and just different stuff, different events. Broaden your horizons, enjoy yourself. It's an evening with the arts, and you can never go wrong with that, I don't think, unless it's like some of the really freaky stuff that they do. But you know, I didn't see anybody in that list. Well, and that's pretty much all my thing. Just go here and order the tickets here, so that way it will count towards me getting to go. And again, tickets are $22 a piece. I do hope to see you guys there. Thanks for coming and hanging out. And if you can't come, I totally understand. I hope you all have a wonderful evening and a great day.